Tara, I guess, how have the girls reacted after the weekend?
Yeah, obviously it was a pretty disappointing loss, so it's always hard to come back from those, and there's lots of emotions about the season and that sort of thing, but they've turned around really good this week, and obviously we still know we're a very good team and that we can beat teams, and if we win 1 or 2 games on the trot, then we're sort of back up in the top 6. So I think this weekend will be a good test for the girls. Obviously against Victory, they're not a bad team at all. So it'll be a tough challenge for them, but I think they're going to be up for it.
I think, have you shown them the ladder, like how close it is this season?
Yeah, well that's right. I think it's 2 or 3 points and you're sort of back up in the top 4. So I think we know that, if we just get those couple of wins on the trot, then we will be back up in there, and it's obviously anyone's game.
Is it safe to say that the girls just couldn't rein back that momentum? It was just hard to get back into that game?
Yeah, look, Wellington are a good team and they've got some good players. Obviously their coach is world class as well. So it's tough to play against, and I think, once you kind of get a couple of goals against you, it's hard to you need a couple of leaders in the team to pull everyone back together and sort of regroup, and it was hard to stop their momentum in the end.
Just going into the victory, obviously they haven't had a win for a while, but they've been getting draws, they've been getting points. Is it a test down there, Melbourne Victory? They're always going to be one that's going to be hard to beat. Yeah,
I don't think you can count them out. Obviously they've had a lot of success in the past, so I think any game they could turn around and put on a show and sort of win. But I think for us, they're obviously in a little bit of turmoil and haven't won some games, so it's good for us to be able to put some pressure on them and really test them out, and then hopefully we can keep that pressure on them and obviously get the 3 points.
Well, at the start of this week, was there anyone that kind of addressed the group, that trying to rally the troops again after?
Yeah, well, obviously, Steve obviously tries to bring the girls back in and puts a bit of perspective on the whole season and everything like that. And obviously you got Cass, that he's always the one to sort of talk to the girls and try and bring them back and give a bit of positivity to them, and think it's not the worst wasn't our best game, but it's not the end of the world that we've lost that one game. So I think regroup and then we'll start again.
Just on your role coming in this year, are you mostly focusing on the strikers? What's your role been like this year?
Yeah, so I think, I'm sure Steve would give me free rein to work with any of the players, but generally speaking, obviously I'm an attacker, so I try and work more so with the forward line, and obviously with the ball, and that's the things that I notice more in the game. I'm looking with the ball, what are we doing and how are we making runs and that sort of thing. So I've tried to obviously help, Mel, Lexi, Kel, all those girls that are up top to talk about what type of run you make, when you make it, and obviously the finishing at the end.
What's the potential in the group? There's a lot of different combinations, and it seems like still maybe trying to find the best one.
Yeah, I think we've obviously changed a lot over the last, probably the whole start of the season with our forward line and who we've got playing together. I think we're still trying to find that connection and the best combination of players, and hopefully, we can start to now build that and then try and have the same or close to the same forward line, so they can get that connection moving forward. Because I think when you're attacking, you want to be able to have a sixth sense about where your other attacker is, and I think if we develop that, then we'll be a much better team.
Because individually you've got some great players in that forward line, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We have some really great players up in the front line, so I think it's now about working together a little bit better and working off each other.
Just want to ask about the Asian Cups obviously coming here, and you've been involved in the game for a long time in Australia. How much impact do you think having it can have on the A-League and hopefully the growth for the women?
Yeah, look, I think we talked about the World Cup, a few years ago, and the impact that would have, and it had an impact at the start, and we probably haven't sustained that. So I think having the Asian Cup here now, hopefully we can start to build that momentum again and try and create an A-League women's competition that's fully professional, where girls don't have to go to work, race off after training and go to work every day, and just keep progressing the women's game here, because we have stagnated in the last few years, and it's frustrating for me as a coach and obviously the girls. So hopefully this can bring back that momentum.
And on Mariners striker Annalise Rasmussen obviously getting a big transfer deal to go to Juventus, is that good for the league? Does it put the spotlight on it, or would you like to see players be able to stay here and strengthen the league here?
Yeah, well, I think it's good and bad. I think it's a great move for her. Going to play for Juventus is obviously an amazing opportunity, and I think it's good in the fact that people looking at our league and seeing our players and thinking that they're good enough to go and do that. But at the same time, you want those good players to stay and make our competition even better. So it's a bit of a good and bad situation.
How's the squad looking heading to Melbourne tomorrow?
Yeah, looking good. We've got a couple of girls that have been injured in the last few weeks, so I think, yeah, Steve's obviously going to pick a starting 11 that's fresh and ready to go, and hopefully we can see those combinations really up the top and with the whole team.
Just going back to the international game, obviously some call-ups for the Kiwis, Charlotte,
Yes,
Kelly.
yeah.
Exciting times for them.
It is, yeah. Kel's obviously been in the fold previously, but for Charlotte, it's an awesome opportunity for her. I think she's pretty excited. So, yeah, it makes us feel good, obviously, here at the Jets to be able to develop those players as well.